Hi, and welcome to What's Important to You with me, James Dean. On the show, I will be talking to people from all walks of life and asking them the question, what's important to you? Because I believe once we understand what's important, then we can build the life that we truly want to live. I hope you are inspired by the guests that I talk to and answer that question for yourself and build the life that you truly want. You can support the show by clicking on the subscribe button, sharing your favorite episode, or leaving your comments. Thanks for watching. Today's guest specializes in social media marketing strategy and digital product launches, focusing on online courses and memberships. She empowers entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and SMEs to increase visibility and grow their business through social media strategies. After overcoming her own failures from a previous business and learning the complexities of social media, she now focuses on helping other entrepreneurs avoid these pitfalls. Her approach is to simplify digital marketing into manageable, actionable steps, ensuring that her clients and community members can achieve their business goals without sacrificing their well-being. Today, we find out what's important to Sorina Dascal. Hi, Sorina. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi, James. Great seeing you again, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, really looking forward to this. So we're going to dive straight in with Sorina and with the first question, which is, what's important to you?
My independence and my freedom are the most important things for me.
Interesting.
If you asked me that a year ago, we wouldn't be that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I discovered this lately, maybe in the beginning of this year, because as we chatted before, and I was saying, okay, my family and my health are very, very important because I moved back to Romania just to be with my family and to support my mom. But then I played a leadership game, one of John Maxwell's game in a networking group. And, you know, they give you a big bunch of cards. Like I think they are, I don't know, almost 100. And you have to cut it until you have 5. And the top of my 5 was 1, independency, the second, the courage. And that made me think about things. And I realized that, yes, I always wanted to be free and to do things in my own way. And I moved countries, I changed jobs, I changed careers, and that doesn't scare me at all. So yeah, I think my freedom.
Right. Interesting. It's very interesting though when you say, because I remember I follow John Maxwell's on a lot of the sort of different online spaces, and very interesting. And the man he's done on leadership, and a previous guest I remember talked about him a lot. It's interesting though that you had to go kind of through that exercise to kind of give you that sort of nudge. So when you actually then you came up and you cut those cards down, you did that exercise, and you had the independence was the number one. What was that in the moment like?
Well, I said that was the moment when I said I have to go back to Ireland. That was the first thought, and I was like, now I know why. And then thinking about it, and I'm doing a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work as well lately, like in my meditation and everything. And then I was like, I think it's coming from my past. It's coming from my childhood because, you know, I was born with a heart malformation, which was complicated. I simply grew up in hospitals, and I had a very, very supportive environment, community, family. But all my childhood, up until I got married and I got out, it was like, you shouldn't do this. You can't do this. You are not allowed to do this. Even if I'll be outside and playing a game with the kids on my age, they will be, oh, just be careful. Sorina is playing. Don't touch her. Don't push her. So I think I'm 99% sure it's coming from the fact that I couldn't, and I've been told don't all my life, with the good intention of protecting me, of course. And then I was like, no, I wanted to move abroad when I was like 15, 16. I wasn't allowed. I wouldn't be allowed to go as a student. And when my ex-husband asked me to marry him, the first question was like, would you move abroad with me? Because if not, I'm not marrying you. So, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
The childhood is the thing that made me want my freedom so badly.
Yeah. And it's because it's interesting to say when we spoke before, the fact that you did move, you were in Ireland, then you moved home, and then, you know, the fact that you're going to be moving back again. So it's like, tell me in a sense of like the whole thing of wanting to live abroad, because as a sort of 15-year-old as well, like, what was the sort of, where did that come from?
Ooh, uh, the same. I think it came from the childhood because I'm Romanian. I was brought up and grew up in a communist Romania where you had no access to almost anything. Like they'll decide how much food they give to you. They decide how much TV you watch. Plus, as I said, I grew up in hospital literally until I was 6 because I had no chance to make it. I was most in hospital. So from this country where it was like really years behind Europe,
Yeah.
I end up having my surgery in Germany. So everything was like beautiful and green, and you can, have a room where you can play. We didn't have toys in Romanian hospitals. You could choose what you have for breakfast. You could play outside in the garden. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I felt like I'm on a holiday when I had my surgery. And then when my mom asked me, because we were like, you could stay there because of the bad conditions in Romania as a political asylum or something. Do you want to stay here? And I was like, well, I want to come back, but let's go home. I lost you. I don't know. I pressed something on the computer.
That's okay. I can still hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I was like, oh, let's go home. Just hug dad and mommy. Mommy is my grandmother, was my grandmother, and come back. And so we came back, and I always knew that there is better outside Romania.
Yeah.
And then things change here. But I still had that dream that I have more freedom. I have more options out there. I had no idea. Like I needed a visa to go on my honeymoon, like when I was 20 something, because you couldn't travel from Romania. So I think it was like probably the unknown.
Yes,
That's was all.
absolutely. So what then? So I think we spoke about this before, but it's a few months ago. So what then? How did you end up in Ireland?
By mistake, actually. I I did not plan to move to Ireland at all. As I said, we couldn't go anywhere. You need a visa, you need work permit, whatever. And the only country in Europe where you could go easier was Belgium. So we moved to Belgium. Actually, I said I really want to go abroad. I'm gonna just take a babysitter job, and everybody was like, "Okay, you take a babysitter job. You're gonna be back in 1 week. You're so spoiled. You're so attached to your family. You can't handle it." And I got the job online. Like I had no idea what I'm going for. I took it. I went as an au pair for a summer while I was married, and my husband was like, "Okay, do your thing. You'll be back," and I loved it. So he came. We moved there, but it was very very hard to integrate because we lived on the Flemish part, so people would speak Flemish, German, English,
Yeah.
French, and Jewish because we were on the side of Hebrew. Was like there were plenty of Jewish community, which was fascinating. I don't want to go there. The food is the most
Yeah.
amazing in the world. So I was like, I will never be able to have a proper job because that language was so difficult for me to
Yes.
learn. And I was like, look, I have a heart surgery. I can't do physical work. So let's go back home. And one of my friends was living in Ireland the time. And he was like, why don't you come to visit Ireland? Just come and visit. You might like it because, the official language is English. You studied that in school. I was like, I don't know. He's like, just come for a trip. So I came for a trip and I stayed. The last 3 months was not what I expected from the super organized style of Flemish to come to Ireland, where you can't rent a house without recommendation. My first salary went. I was lucky I got a job very fast, but I couldn't change my bank details. So somebody got my first card, my first PIN, my first full salary in the country. I was so disappointed. And then I lived in the city center. So imagine what I could see on the streets. And I was like, oh no, this is not what I want. But then I was lucky because my first pharmacy job, like I got the job in a pharmacy because I had knowledge on the cosmetic side. I had a really great team. And I think in about 3 months, I felt like I'm at home. Like I would never say, oh, I missed something. I really fit in. I probably because I met the right people all the way there.
I love it. And
It was just a
and it was
trip.
just, yeah, it was just a trip and you ended up staying. That's amazing. No, I love it.
Yeah,
It's
and I love it. I actually feel it more home when I go
yeah,
when I get out of the plane. I was like, oh, I'm home. That by
yeah,
my home, it's here. I moved abroad when I was 26. Like, I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe even the weather, you laugh at me. It
yeah,
suits
yeah,
me. It suits my condition. I don't do heat.
yes,
The people are so friendly. I'm definitely more open minded than what's still here in Romania.
sure,
And
sure,
I don't know, I like it. Maybe I have to
yeah.
go to check my family arbor how
History,
tree to
yeah,
figure out
yeah, yeah. Love it.
why I'm so attached to Ireland.
I love it. Well, the thing is, because say, I'm say people who've listened to the podcast previously. I'm not originally from Ireland myself. I was, but I moved over when my now wife, we met at university in England, and then I followed her back. So I've been here now just over 19 years in Ireland, and I kind of very much the same in that
Wow.
respect. Like, I if further back history, I grew up in Germany. My father worked for was a civil servant, worked for the British forces. So I grew up on a military base in Germany. So again, slightly different in a sense. So my kind of the reason I was asking. So why would you looking to travel as such? Because I say by the age I traveled a lot when I was younger because we were in Europe, so we had that opportunity to travel. So I always had that, but I kind of the same way wanted to live somewhere different, be somewhere different. I always had that sort of I'll live anywhere type thing. Um, so I never, when I moved over to Ireland back in '05, I didn't, it was like, oh, well, I'll just go. Like, it's no, we'll see what happens type thing, whether we'd come move to England or wherever. And say 19 years later, I'm onto we bought a second house here a couple of years ago now in Westmeath, and I got my Irish citizenship. I got my Irish passport, all in, so it's amazing that has this, and I'm very much yourself, but you can't quite explain it.
Yes, I can't. And I do remember when people were asking me, as you said about citizenship, would you get Irish citizenship? And I was like, I don't know. Why should I get it? Like, I was like, I'm here anyway. But then when I got it, I was like, that actually made a big deal. I was like, I'm actually a citizen. I'm a proper Irish person now, half Irish. Yeah, like it's interesting. I just maybe
Yeah,
because I think it's simply the Irish culture. Because wherever I go on holidays, it's not the same. It's not the same. People are
yeah,
not as friendly. We have
yeah,
to admit it.
100%. 100%.
So
It's even funny because I say, like, I say a lot of, obviously, most of my family are in England, and this is not for everywhere, obviously, for anyone who's listening in England, but there is a difference in the sense of, like, say, if I go to, say, like a supermarket, some just a shop or whatever, and say if I do it in Ireland, even if I just go to wherever, I'll just, you get to the till, is like, how's it going? How are you? How's your day? And a little bit of chit chat. A lot of the times when I say that anywhere else, they kind of look at me going, fine, thank you. As if I'm interrogating. There isn't that sort of, that just freedom of just chat in a sense. The same, I found that myself.
yeah, absolutely. Like even here where I live now, I was like, these people don't say hello on the streets, and I stop and talk to them and compliment their dogs, and they're like, "What's wrong with this one?" So yeah, I miss that, and I do remember I put a post I think on Facebook or somewhere where I was like, "I've been almost like 45 minutes in a taxi, and he didn't say hello more than hello." I was like, "That was so awkward." It's like, where are my Irish taxi drivers? Like,
Yeah. They'll
yeah,
be
I
telling
miss
you
that.
everything.
I miss that. Yeah. And even
100%.
my family, when they're there first time, they're like, people are smiling and saying hello. I was like, yes, that's normal.
Yeah.
But no other
Love
culture,
it.
I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't come across this somewhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Absolutely.
come
Love it.
back to be able to go on my own anywhere and talk to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting then because we going back to the things you were saying about, like you said, about sort of independence and freedom. But, what are the other things that comes across then to me when we spoke previously in the chat now is like, there's a very much a sort of an expression. You want to be able to express yourself. Do you know what I mean? And is that part of that freedom to be, in that sort of, because that culture suiting you, because you want to be able to talk to people, say hello, so does that kind of fit into it as well? That sort of expression of yourself.
I think that, and I think Oh God, I hope my family doesn't watch this. As much as I love them, I like the lack of responsibility, being on my own there and go to the places I want to go, do what I
Yeah.
want to do without explaining myself or excusing myself. I don't want to
Yeah.
attend this family reunion. I don't want to visit that aunt. I don't want to. I just and I've been abroad, as I said, for 16 years. And then I got divorced around 8 years ago. So I've been really on my own in a different country. I like that freedom. I could just wake up and go wherever I wanted to go. And I always wanted, since I was very, very young, like to work for myself. But I was
Yep.
not encouraged. Even now, my mom tells me I should get a proper job. She was like, "Oh, why? What about? I can't understand what you are doing." So now that I opened my agency almost 2 years ago, I have more freedom
Yeah.
because I work from home. I can adjust my meetings. It's just, I was like, I'm living the dream. It's not the dream business yet, but I have that freedom. I can go in Ireland. I can go back to Belgium. I can travel around the world and do the job that I'm doing right now. And I
Yeah.
love it. It's
Yeah.
just, it's another type of freedom back to being on my own and doing things.
Yes.
So yes, I think it's, I don't like to fit in. And I try for years to get into the box, to do what everybody does, to say what everybody wants to hear. And then I was like, no, actually, I'm old enough. I'm done. I'm just going to look after myself. And even now, I was like, I'm miserable here. Like, I withdraw from the society. I put lots of weight. I don't do the things that I used to do. And I was like, I used to be a bubble of joy, always smiling and doing things. And here I couldn't. And I was like, I really want to help my parents. They got better and they're stubborn and they can't accept any help. I said, it's not the point to stay here because they don't want me miserable. And I owe myself to live my life with the full potential because I've done it all my life and I enjoyed everything. I gotta keep going. And where
Yeah.
things are getting worse, I'll deal with the problems when they are. I'm not imagining problems now. Just they're
Yeah.
fine and function. I'll come. I'll see what happens, and then it's 4 hours
Yeah.
away. It's not the end of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's a really important thing for people to hear that, because there's that thing of like when it comes to things like family, absolutely, like, and wanting to be able to either help or be there, but there is that element though of, as you said it yourself, you have to live your own life as well. And for as much as,
Yeah.
because it's this thing I think with family, whether it be parents, whether it be potentially older, if you've got older children or siblings, especially you haven't lived together for a long time, everyone is so different. Everyone has the way of doing
Yes.
things. And you, as much as you say, the way you'll see it, I'm sure that there's times when you were at home or you've been at home the last while and you'd be like looking at your parents, they're looking at you, go, why is she doing it this way? Why, you get a real job? And you're probably looking
Oh,
at
yeah.
them going, pulling your hair out, going, why are they doing it this way? They're not going to
Oh
change, is
God,
it? So
I
it's,
no.
so you have to go back to what you said and go, you know what, I can do so much, otherwise I have to live your own life.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely. And I managed to live with them for 2 weeks when I came back because I didn't come back to stay. I came back to help for a
Sure.
while. And then I was
Yeah.
like, I just gonna get the Airbnb. And they were like, what? You came on holidays. Why you get a Airbnb? I was like, we're gonna kill each other. I can't do this. I can't. And
Yeah.
then slowly I said I'll stay. And then I was like, oh no, it's getting worse. And since the moment I bought my ticket to come over for holidays in Ireland, that was in March, and 2 weeks later, I was like, no, I am just moving. My mindset shifted. Like a
Yeah.
different person. Just knowing that I took that hard decision and I split it out there, I share it with everybody without feeling guilty. Like I'm not guilty. I
Yes.
know it's what I need to do right now. And it's a big deal
Yeah.
for me to not feel guilty about it.
Yeah,
So
it's no, it is, and that's a really to add on to the points you're saying there. One about making those big decisions for yourself, but not feel guilty and not to associate. This is, I think, is a real big thing for people, not to associate doing something for yourself as being selfish, or that selfishness being necessarily a bad thing, because I think it's a cliche, but I've said it many times, and many other people have said it as well. The comparison of the air stewards telling you to put your own oxygen mask on first before you help anyone else. As you said yourself there, if you're miserable where you are, what use are you to anyone if you're trying to help them? Or if you're actually in a better place and see them people more sporadically, you're going to be better to help them, potentially.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because this is what I preach as well. I do say to people, and I'm not doing it, And I was like,
Yeah.
I become a fraud. I'm not doing like, even I do social media, but I have a membership, and part of it is kind of like, you need to mind yourself. You need to be happy. You need to take it. It's not your business, and it's not the marketing that are the most important thing. If you're not happy into your heart and your mind, it's overwhelmed, that you are no benefit to anybody, not only to
Yeah.
yourself, to your family, to the loved ones, but to the business. So you
Yeah.
can't run a business at the full potential if you are not into yourself first. Like, I'm gonna work 25 hours a day, and then I'm gonna be sick and pay medication and miserable and get depressed, and I'm gonna fight with my husband and be snappy with the kids. That's not the way. So no, I learned the lesson to look after myself through life. So
Yeah.
I forgot about it, but I came back to my real self after 2 years of work.
Yeah, but I think as also that's a really sort of echo the point again, though. It's like, because I think a lot of people sometimes looking on to situations to other people, there's that thing of, especially if we're seeing it through the lens of online spaces, we can believe that everyone else has it figured out, and everyone, oh, but they've seen they got it all together. Everyone's going through something at some point in time, so it takes a lot to kind of go. And sometimes you can kind of think, oh, geez, why didn't I do this 6 months ago, a year ago, etc. But there's almost no point fighting yourself of that. It's kind of like, well, I've done it now, move forward.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think what kills us is comparison. We compare ourselves. But I think every popular person that I work with and I came across, they have the same bloody struggles like everybody else.
Yeah,
They still are
100%.
lacking in confidence. They are still terrified of certain things. They still don't have it all at home. It's just we put a face on social media because I don't know, everybody else is perfect. We try to be perfect. So I'm trying to break down this myth, and I'm trying to be authentic myself and to teach everybody, go be yourself, because people will understand you. Everybody has problem. Everybody struggles. Everybody's vulnerable. But going back, being vulnerable, it's a big courage.
Yeah,
It's hard to
yeah,
break down in
absolutely.
front of the people. It's not
Yeah,
cool,
yeah, absolutely. But
but it
when you
helps.
say, yeah, absolutely, that's the big thing. It absolutely helps, 100%. So one of the things you mentioned that obviously came from obviously the things you talked about for independence, freedom, is the fact that you, despite not being encouraged or in any way, um, I suppose, promoted to do it when you were growing up, or even now, you do have your own or business. So first, I want to know a sense of what was the sort of inspiration for you to start to work for yourself, and then the type of business you do.
Oh, I think I had plenty of unprofessional bosses through my life. People who wouldn't support you, people who would come and tell you, ask your staff to do this. Like, for example, I was working in a company and we have to do, like, in order to get a small promotion, people will have to go through a very difficult series of exams. And I do remember I asked once one of my directors, I was like, can we give this amount of money or extra money to these people because they're so good in my team and I don't want to lose them. And he was like, well, just tell them to pass these exams. And I was like, but you did not pass these exams. And if you're going to pass them, then I'm going to ask them to do it. You're not capable of doing it. Why do you ask me to ask them who are actually working their ass off on the floor all day long? Because I worked in pharmacy and in
Mm.
naturalist shops, and I was like, why? So I think it was always wanted to work for myself. I don't know where it came from. Maybe I
Mm.
knew that working for myself gonna bring me more freedom. I can do what I want and I can drive it in my own way.
Yeah.
But I really wanted, since I was like 20, I wanted to open a beauty salon, and I was like, have no idea what to open a beauty salon. And But I never been encouraged to do anything. As I said, I went back
Yeah.
to college. I was told I shouldn't. Anything I've done, and they were like, "No, you shouldn't be doing this. No, you shouldn't be doing this." And then if I stop doing things, I've been asked, "Why did you stop doing things?" And I was like, "Would you just leave me alone? Like, I just take
Yeah.
my decisions. I carry them on." And I learned to take responsibility for failures, for giving up, for like everything like this. But the freedom probably came from you can't, you can't, you can't, and
Yeah.
having your my dream was to have a business since ever, but I failed my wellness business because I did not listen. I didn't do the marketing that the way I supposed to do. I didn't put myself out there the way I should. And then that was the obsession of learning marketing that I actually switched over the last few years. But then I learned. I learned. So I was, but maybe for about 6 7 years I've been working, and I was doing a bit of coaching on the side, but not much because it was hard for me to do a lot of things. And then when I was officially going all in, COVID came, everything went down, and that's the way I ended up here. Like, I was like, people will suggest me to start doing marketing because I was helping others,
Okay.
and I didn't even acknowledge that, I love doing it. And once I do remember, I've done a TikTok internship, if you can believe that. I don't do TikTok anymore, and I don't know how to dance. And like 4 days in, it was an amazing woman. Her name is Rachel Peterson. She is one of the very non-conventional social media marketers. I was like, okay, this is all what I want to do. I love it because open my mind that, it's more freedom, and you can still help people. Like, I still use everything that I learned in life from wellness, even if I work with in this field. It's
Yeah.
strange. Even with the clients, the agency clients, they still have problems in life. And in order to be there, you need to go through the whole process.
Yeah.
So it's all free. I always like to help people in different ways. So maybe from there, wanting to work for myself, it will allow me to do it the way I can or I want, because I'm still not capable to do what most people are doing probably, but I can do bits, and that
Yeah.
works for me.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I love the fact as well that it wasn't the fact that it's chopped and changed and it's adjusted and you've adjusted with it because depending on what's happened and obviously through failure, through things not working, you've
Oh
come to
yeah.
where you come to. But I also love the point there that you're helping people with in sense of their marketing of their businesses. But it's interesting when you touched on it there when people are coming to you about that, it's not necessarily just the sort of quote unquote marketing. It's not necessarily, looking at the branding or the colors and stuff, what people think on the surface. Again, it's so much underneath. It's good. I'm sure it's people's, again, confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, being bold, being
Absolutely.
present, all those things, but creating it as the end. So tell me more in a sense of the people that you help and how you help them.
Well, like simply like if it's like I have two small things that I'm doing. I have a digital marketing agency when, let's say, a company comes to me and they want to be promoted online. So I can do their strategy and I can do their full marketing management, like posting for them, helping them to create their emails. I can do everything. But the what I love the most is the strategy part. And as I said, these clients, they come to me, they will always come and, for example, will try to create posts for their own egos, let's say, or we have to do this. We don't do it this way. The other, like, it's like you have first to educate people what marketing is. We need to have a really proper chat for them to be aware and to be honest to themselves where their business is actually in this moment, because they will bluff a lot. And I said, let's talk money. Like, you want this and this and this, but your main problem is not to look well on social media. Your biggest problem is to put money in the company, and that's the marketing part. Like, if you don't bring money into the company, beautiful pictures do not feed the family. So it's a lot of educating, and then in that conversation, the vulnerability comes back, the lack of confidence, the issues that they carry on in life, in family. Like, you'll be surprised what's all coming out. So then we figure out it's a long journey, the first 2 3 months, which each person or each company, doesn't matter how small and big it is, 90% of the cases they're the same issues. And then I have, that's another part that I really like, where it doesn't really bring me money at the moment. I help, like, I can teach and support other solopreneurs to grow their businesses through marketing and sales online and everything. And I love it. And I'm doing it because I paid so much money over the years for courses and membership that they were not giving you the values that they promised to you.
Yeah.
And I knew, for example, that I spent my last 3,000 euro for a course and I got nothing out of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'll do it better than this man. And I'm going to give more
Mm.
value. And I think I am, because I really care about everybody I work with.
Mm.
And I try, to personalize everything. And this is the biggest, I don't know, brings more joy in my business than anything else, to work with small business owners. Say, I got another client. I've done this well. I had a girl that came to us last year and she was like, I need to get a job. I make no money. And now we were talking to her a few months ago. She was like, so do you feel a business owner now? She was like, yes, I replaced my salary. I can do it. So that's the biggest, happiness and joy that comes from the business. Of course, helping anybody, doesn't matter what, it's fantastic. But these small results are far bigger for me and for those small people than the people who are actually having already a good budget and afford to invest. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, maybe I see myself there struggling for years to make it.
Yes. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then,
And I think, yeah, 100%. And I think that's a really interesting point because the whole thing of the marketing side of stuff, because the point that you said there is you try another course or try something else and try something else. And I think for someone who's probably in some way, I'll mirror that a bit. If you've been one of those, you're either a startup or a business or something, and you've tried all these and it's hard to sort of think, well, am I going to go back in again? Am I going to try? What's what's going to be the difference here? So how did you, I suppose, make sure? What did you do differently? Did you say, I'm going to be better than the guy that you gave 3,000 to? What was it, do you think, that
yes.
you did differently that will make people sign up for you versus going to still to him? What was it you try and do differently?
Well, I'm not there. People are signing up for me instead of him. He still has a
Yeah,
better team than
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah,
But I think I wish. Oh God,
yeah.
no. What I do, I think I don't hold on any knowledge. I share all, like
Okay.
all what I know. I will bring into the table. But also, I started a small membership. It was kind of a meta, and I launch it more now during the summer. In that part, we meet weekly and we have a one-to-one conversation every single week. The trainings are live, the conversation are like my DM is open for any question, and if anybody has a problem, we will fix it. But in top of the business part, the offline marketing, the online marketing, we do everything from scratch. But we also have Mary Farley that introduced to each other, that comes once a month and helps everybody with the mindset and the personal development part. So we do
Oh,
more
nice.
than just, growing
Yeah,
businesses. We support people in every aspect of their lives. And
yeah,
that's that tiny little piece. It's so important. I
yes,
could do it myself in a way, but it was so hard for me, to be always the good cop, because being so supporting and doing that bit, then you will maybe not be so hard on them or don't push the boundaries, because you need to
yeah,
push a bit people in the membership
yeah,
to get the results. So I do believe in the power of together. So having Mary in the group, it's so much balance, because we also help each other and keep ourselves accountable.
yeah,
So in order to serve the others, we need to be there for each other too, and that makes a difference. And I was even saying, I'm going to definitely go out in social media, tell people, do not buy courses online if you don't have any live support, because I tested, I admit, I tested the biggest people in the industry. And because you see this panic, buy all this for $20, buy this for
yeah,
100, buy this. But I go back, and they are, especially in my industry, they're stuff that they worked 5 years ago. That's
yeah,
all what they have in the last 10 years of industry. But it's not the trending, it's not the update. So sign for the people, but make sure they give you at least once a month a live option to ask your questions, to
yeah,
talk to them, to email them. If not, this all online self-education on your own
yeah,
time, I think it's past right now. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
people
yeah.
need to hold their hands, and they want to be listened, and they need
Yeah.
to adjust so fast. So I think that's what I think makes us different, is that we are
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, because I think it's a really valid point actually, because I think it's when, because if you're just watching a video online and you're just on your own watching it, you could take in the information, and it could be about, say, a piece. Say if we just pick out confidence, for example, as that sort of thing, or self-worth, and they could be doing a piece on it, and you could listen to it. But if you're not in the space to say it yourself in your own words out loud, is it really going to have that same sort of resonance? Because you're just listening. Listening is great as you're the person who's purchased it, but if you you kind of need that almost opportunity to say it in a way that it'll click for yourself, and you need to be able to say it out loud to someone for them to listen and reflect it back. So the live thing, as you say, having just someone in the room, because as you say, like, whether you said it earlier, is like everyone kind of has the same problems, quote unquote, or the same challenges, or the same whatever, whether it be they're high or far in their career or whatever. It's still a confidence thing. It's still a self. There's always those things, or ego, whatever it is. But we all need that sort of moment to be able to say it in our own words. That goes, all right, got it now. And if you're only just listening to it, do you really get that opportunity to do it?
I think the implementation is the hardest part, and actually the
Yeah.
confidence, as you said, for every small business owner, every, doesn't matter how old they are or how young they are, like, it's really important. And that's the part that makes a difference, because it's not the learning. Like, come on, there is Google and YouTube, like, and
Yeah.
books. Why we don't just all read them and go and implement
Yeah.
it? You need the coaching part. You need the
Yeah.
mentoring part. You need to listen to them. They need to be listened to. They need to hear themselves, or they need to hear somebody else having the same problem. And you will see, even yesterday, because we meet Wednesday, they're like, you'll see that I actually got now my thing, and they will find their answers from anybody else's questions. And it's amazing. And they all say, this is so good, because you feel also safe.
Yeah.
You feel like you can be you can share with a group of people.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, because we're just a few now, it's really easy to be 100% authentic. And this is a thing, we will try to let people in, like 5 people at a time, or we don't
Yeah.
want just to grow overnight and then to not be the right fit for
The
everybody.
service. Yeah.
But I think, as you said, it's knowing things. We all know things, we all learn things, we
Yeah.
all can listening to videos, but you need that implementation. You maybe, as you say, you know what you should be doing, but you can't. You simply can't. Like,
Yep.
I personally stopped marketing myself because I got so nasty DMs at some stage, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have to explain myself. And I
Yeah.
stopped. And I preach marketing, I teach marketing, I see results. My confidence was walked over talking about my accent and my breathing, because God help me, I have a heart condition and I don't hear well.
Yeah.
So, but even if I had the power to acknowledge that that was a really nasty comment or really mean, it still affected me.
Yeah.
So, you need people to drain you out and hold your hand when you're in these
Yeah.
situations. And this is probably something that it's lacking out there in all these courses and all the digital products that people are selling, which I do believe
Yes.
digital products are amazing, but you need the human part attached to it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the person behind the business has to be there.
Yeah. 100%. Because I think, and I'm sure, obviously, without going through to the details of the people that you work with, but I'm sure the fact that you have those live sort of meetings, you've seen the shift in them, because you're seeing them, whether it be week after week or whatever. So you be able to see it, versus how do you know when someone, if it's just a pure online, you're never going to see the result as such. You know what I mean? It's just very much here you go. But when you're someone's, the one is the accountability of showing up, and then it's the sort of investing in the group and things. So can you see it yourself when these people are turning up week to week, not necessarily the difference in the marketing, but just in themselves?
Oh God, it's a massive difference. Like, it's amazing. Like, I have a group of women that I start working with them for the first time in October. So, and we are in June now, and you can see the difference, the courage, their understanding, the things that come out, as you say, is like, wow. But I see the change in myself. I shifted
Yeah.
myself. The group helped me personally, the same way then I helped them. It was like, I'm a better person. I'm a better marketer because of them, because they ask the right questions, because they are honest. They won't say, oh God, this is very helpful. And they say, I need more help with this. So I can see changes in everybody and more clarity, because this is the hardest part, to have that clarity where you want to go, where exactly and why. Because if many people say, oh, I want to do this, but do you want to do it for you or for other
Yeah.
people? I want to be this because, and many times is that ego to do what people expect you to do, to be at the standards that people want. And if you don't do it with all your heart, you can't succeed. I don't think you can truly, because you lose the interest, you lose the
Yeah.
confidence, you lose the interest,
Yeah.
simply.
Absolutely, because I also, there's that other sort of, when you're saying that, there's also the reason why people do things. There's that sort of I don't know if it's cliche again, where people say the whole thing of to prove someone wrong, or to prove, and it's kind of like this thing of like, but okay, so that can give you so much. I'm not sure I quite agree with that fully, that idea, because it can give you so much sort of motivation. That bit of maybe anger can be motivation, but if you're just doing it to prove someone wrong, well, so what's, you know what I mean? Like,
How
you're going to
helps
spend,
you? How
yeah,
helps you?
exactly. You could spend a lot of time, money, and energy to do something that you really don't necessarily want to do, just so you can just go, well, whatever to you type thing. So what? Like,
Yeah.
that person that you're proving it wrong to, they might not even care. Like, they'll be just like, and
Yeah.
so that sort of reason why you're doing something is so important. Is that something you kind of work through people with? They're trying to find their sort of why, and what they want to do, why they want to do it.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. Like, first, you need to know why you are doing, and then you need to know exactly who you want to help. If you don't have that
Yeah.
ideal client, or if you just come with a product on the market and you want to sell it, that's not the way that works anymore. You need to have a client-based business, not a product-based business. You
Mm,
need the person that you want to help. You know what problems they have, and you need to find a way to help the person to get from where they are to where they want to be.
mm.
And when you have this clear, everything gets far easier, and everything falls into place. If you never know who you talk exactly to, and you're always coming back and readjusting, it's time consuming. And people are saying, I don't need to niche down. And I was like, you don't niche down. You just tell me one person that you want to help, and let's create all your marketing for that one single person, because there are hundreds and thousands similar people
Mm.
with the same problem.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important, in their why. But also when you go deeper and they say, oh, I do this because I have freedom, I have this. And after a deeper conversation, like, you'll have people will say, well, actually, I'm doing this because I work with this product and I was about to die and it saved my life. And nobody in the room would know that that person went through that shift. Or I've been
Yeah.
so hurt years ago and I took the wrong path. And I was like, wow, we would not know. Even yesterday, some things like this came out. After working with these people for 7, 8 months, we didn't know certain things because
Yes.
they didn't bring them out yet.
Yeah.
It's a process, and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful. And that when they find their why, and then more they remember about who they are, why they are doing things, the more productive they are, the more heart they put into the business, and everything gets easier.
Yes.
When you do it with passion and being very aware why you are doing it or who you are gonna help, gives you more motivation than any video you know
Yes.
but you need a tough conversation.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think one of the things I continually, just when you're saying stuff, is this, obviously bringing up so much things for myself, is, in a sense of like what I'm trying to navigate myself and things like that, and going through things like processes like ideal clients and those sorts of things. I always, one of the things, and maybe people listening will kind of resonate with this, if you're in that sort of trying to start a business or small business, whatever it is the avoidance of, whether you're putting something out there or presenting, trying, because the whole thing of the ideal client thing, but then trying to think, oh, saying something because I think, oh, that's what they want me to say. You're trying to almost you start second guessing yourself, and you turn yourself inside out thinking, oh, I think this is what they say. Or you're looking at someone else again, then think, well, they're saying this, maybe I should do, and follow. And it's like there's a difference between understanding trends and copying. There's a difference, because you know what I mean. So it's like
Yes. Oh gosh.
you can turn yourself almost inside out trying to second guess versus, okay, what is it I'm trying to say? How am I trying to say it? Is this going to help the person that I'm trying to help? Okay, or maybe I have to slightly change it differently for a language they understand. It's that balance of trying to help the person you want to the ideal client, but be authentic at the same time. That takes a lot of time for me to
Yeah,
really get
I
it.
never thought of that.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think once, as I said, once you are yourself, and when
Yeah.
you have that ideal client can be only three people, could be you a
Yeah.
few years ago, could be a person that you worked in the past and it went very well and you're happy working with that person, or could
Yeah.
be somebody that struggles and you know you have a solution for them.
Yeah.
And I always say, do not post a lot. Every single time when you create a piece of content, think of that person. Think if this post gonna make them smile, gonna make them think, gonna make them take action. If don't, it has no value. If
Hmm.
you don't have somebody and you don't inspire, it's like, okay, I can put about my own journey and I can be vulnerable. But when I'm vulnerable and I write about my own journey, I definitely need to teach them something or
Yeah.
motivate them to do something for themselves. If not, and copying all these similar posts, that's rubbish. Like, do what you think your people need. Also,
Yeah.
what more people are saying, I'm not sure. If you're not sure, what I teach organic strategy, I was like, think about 7 to 12 topics within your expertise and you start talking about them, giving your best advice about those topics. And then you see who's reacting, the questions they are coming, the reflection. And then you will narrow down and you'll see, okay, this is actually my ideal client problems if you don't know. Or when people are starting a business, say, invite 5 people that you like to work with for a coffee and tell them, I need your help. I know to figure out what is your life. Because if you need to know what they like, what they hate, what they love, what they struggle with, what makes them happy. Like if I'm gonna start talking about football in my content, my girls were like, "What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
She usually doesn't talk about this." That's not me. I don't resonate with them. None of them are playing football. None of them are watching football. Well, but if I talk about meditation, if I give them a book to read or I recommend it, they do relate with me because I know my audience is that type of audience. And my ideal client is not so much the demographic, it's more psychological. I work with open-minded people. If you come as a
Yes.
client to an agency and they're like, no, it's like, not for me.
Yeah.
So you need to know something very well about that
Yeah.
client, not everything. You'll figure the everything
Yeah.
afterwards. But
Yeah.
that little bit, it's really important. And be you.
Yeah.
You don't need everybody to like you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think,
You
yeah,
know?
and that was one of the I think it's really interesting points. That one of the things for anyone who's again thinking around this space, sort of coming up with that sort of ideal client thing. Sometimes I used to get sort of bogged down in it, thinking, "Oh, I've got to come up with either an age profile or a gender profile or a demo, those sorts of demographics, traditional demographics, if you want to call it, sort of like occupation, things like that." And I would get bogged down in it, those sorts of things. So I don't know where it was, who I was working with or what they were saying was to switch it differently, maybe to kind of what you said, more characteristics of the person. So are they open-minded? Are they,
Yeah.
are they energetic, or are they, some of those description things of the type of people you want to work with, versus maybe narrowing it down to those sort of traditional demographics. Maybe we look at, so is it to do with their values, those type of things? So there's different ways you can
Yes.
kind of slice it, if that makes sense, to kind of create who that person or those people are that you want to work with. So it's trying the different ways that fits yourself, and as you say, do it and say it in the way that you want to say it. Because the other things I'd be interested to get your take on this, because for the various different sort of people, there's different obviously people that I follow online, and one of the things I can find, I can stop myself sometimes if I'm putting something online, because I think, God, I kind of said this. before, I said this similar before, and you think, oh, do I always have to come up with this? Am I always having to come up with something new? Do I always have to come up with something different because there's something new to say? But really, if you keep, as you keep saying, if you keep flip-flopping to different subjects, everyone's going, what is actually this person talking about? I find it's like, well, actually, if they are saying on message on the similar thing, well, they'll realize, oh, this is what this person's going to talk about.
Yes, and the more narrowed down you are with what you are teaching people, it's the better, because the reality is most people are unfollowing people right now. We all want a break from social media. We are all overwhelmed. The summer is coming. Everybody spends time out. So you're going to see the numbers are dropping down, the conversation, the engagement, everything goes down. It's just because people are sick of being online, but they need to be online, because the reality is, if you grow businesses, you need to be online. So you need to be very careful. Like when somebody goes to your page, they need to know what you're doing. Let's say I'm gonna see a video and a girl is doing amazing green smoothie. I was like, oh my god, I really need to get that TikToks. Let's go to see her page. But if I go to her page and it's a picture with her children, and then it's another picture with them talking about, selling a product about cleaning carpets, and then it's nothing related to green juices, only here and there, it's not for me. If I go to a page to follow right now, they need to give me exactly what I was looking for. And she should have green juices there, plenty of green juices and healthy tips, because that's the reason I went there. So I don't follow her. But if I go to somebody else's page and I open and they have 20 recipes, all different colors of juices, I say, oh, she's mine. I'll follow, I'll save this post and I'll share it maybe with friends. That's the thing when you said you need to talk about the same subject, because we didn't reinvent marketing, or we didn't reinvent sales or wellness or anything. They are the same rules. They are the same books out there. We will write similar books. We will do similar stories. So we just need to bring it to attention and to remind people in different ways until they take action and until they get better at that. So yeah, you feel like, oh God, I done this post. Everybody reschedule posts. 3 months in, go back, see what worked, and put it back. That's the reality. And the same people will comment, and they're gonna enjoy it, because if it was a good post, they'll be there for you.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll echo in a sense of for anyone listening for this as well, because as I was telling Sorina before we started this recording, Sorina is my 90th guest on the podcast, so which is now coming. It's over. Thank you. Coming over 2 years, and so there was a bit of a time period where I haven't had as many sort of recordings or as episodes going out. So I was like, but I've got 90 odd guests. I've got all this content, and I now do my recordings on Riverside, so it's a new platform I was using, and they do with AI magic clips.
Okay.
Like you just click a button and it gives you potentially 5 to 10 clips. Does it for you. Whereas I was before with my own editor, just trying to, I'm sure they said this at some point, and I was trying to find the clip in the conversation and doing all this editing where I can just click a button, it just gives me all these clips. So I just started uploading old content of previous recordings onto the platform, and was just like, right, I'm just going to clip all these and just put them out. And the engagement that I got from videos that were 2 years ago, even now, or content from 2 years ago, has had a huge impact in a sense of like the viewing, the traction, listening to the show, you know what I mean? And then the knock-on effect that has. So it's interesting. It was like that sort of, and then it refocused myself in a sense of like, no, this is what I talk about. This is what my message is about, asking people that question, what's important, and then helping people be themselves. That's it. Keep it simple.
That's it.
And it's
easy. But it's difficult.
100%. And I'm sure there's people going to be listening and watching this going, no. It has to be more complicated than that. But that do you find that's the hardest part, to keep it simple?
Yes. I think people like to complicate themselves. Yeah. Even now I got a new client and we do interior design, and like we have amazing images, videos, everything is just beautiful. It's luxury echo. It's all that everybody dreams in their home. And then she's coming like, let's do this and let's do this. And it's like, we're wasting time. we're wasting time on that little bit on polishing things that they work, instead of spending time actually engaging with people and bringing, giving life to your content. Because that's a very big problem for people, okay, what I'm doing, why I'm doing, all these questions, has to be this way, has to be this way. No, keep it simple. Stupid simple. I think Ty Lopez says keep
Yeah.
it stupid simple, and just do what you can at your best and show up and be consistent. That's the magic. But also, you were saying about chopping these clips and using them. I always say, do this. Also, you can put them on YouTube. You can take everything from one of your videos, your interviews, and you can turn them into a blog or into 10 posts. And this
Yes.
post, I always recommend to people, go back and take 5 quotes from your own content, 5 lines that you can simply put them in your stories and create bits of content. People
Yeah.
resonate with small little sentences.
Yeah.
So we can reuse. It's like a domino from a video,
Yeah.
because you do all these videos. You have so much content to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah.
And I even recommend that if you create a post, do it a normal post, do it a carousel, and doing a video with exactly the same content, because
Yeah.
you put it 90 days apart.
Yes.
It's what you teach. Simple
Yeah.
is what you teach.
Yeah.
It's just some
Absolutely.
people find it helpful in a video or with slides, or prefer to read. Give it to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. No,
So as
love it.
simple as it is, we still don't do the whole work, including
No.
myself always.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And because it's that thing of again, because when you do that, when I find when I'm doing that, I'm trying to thinking, oh, but what are they thinking? And it's almost like that's none of your business. Your business is to kind of like do what you're doing and stop trying to guess what someone else is. Oh, they're going to think. Then you're also thinking, oh, they're going to think I'm boring, or they're going to think I'm, you know what I mean? You're kind of projecting essentially. So you have to kind of just cut it and do what you think is the right thing that's going to help the people that are actually watching. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Constantly working on yourself to do that.
It's the same, it's we are thinking about how we look on the camera, how
Yeah,
we
yeah,
sound on the
yeah, yeah,
camera,
yeah,
what people are thinking, exactly what you said. But we actually do this to help people. And if 10 people listen to us and they learn something, we help 10 people. If
yeah,
another 20 were saying something and they didn't like it, that's their problem.
yeah,
That's nothing to do with us.
yeah,
We've done our best. We've been there. We share our bit. Take it or leave it.
yeah.
And I do remember I could hear Dean Graziosi telling a story about his biggest speech ever, the first big speech in front of a stage. And he was like froze. And Tony Robbins was like, don't be a selfish prick out there. It's not about you, man. And he was like, actually, he knew it, but he was like, it's not
Yeah.
about you. And then he was like, that was a lighting bulb. That was my momentum. I was like, I forgot. It was not about me. It was not about me
Yes.
failing on the stage. It was about the message, But like, it was like, don't be a selfish bitch, go and do the work. And
Love it.
that changed his attitude in showing
Yeah.
up and being vulnerable and talking about who he is. And if you fail it, you
Love it.
fail it. What can happen? We can pick it
Yeah.
from where we left.
Yeah.
But we need
Love
to
it.
go through lessons
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn and to do it with more courage and without feeling vulnerable. Even if you are vulnerable, you just do it for
Yeah.
people. And you do it for people, I think you have a business.
Absolutely. Love it. No, Sorina, we could keep talking for ages, but I do have a few questions that I ask every guest. So the first one I want to ask you is, I do like, and I think they can be quite powerful, quotes or phrases. I think they can be quite powerful or quite supportive people. Are there any quotes or phrases that are important to you?
Yeah, I actually prepared one for you today because I knew you're
Great.
going to ask. And I did say, I will go to Tony Robbins, who says, identify your problems, but give the power and the energy to your solutions, because it's so relevant to how I lived my life. If I wouldn't be able to focus always on solution and to put my power and all my energy into them, I wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't function. I would be at home, doing nothing. So yes, I think this is a powerful thing, to identify your problems, be aware of them, but give your power and your energy to a solution. I think this is very important for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because absolutely, and I love obviously his work as well, and a lot of the stuff he says, and it again going back to that sort of keep it simple, thing. It sounds so obvious, but how many people will just stop at the problem. Just constantly talk about the problem, give out about the problem, just focus on it versus, because putting your energy and power into the solution, that takes, as you say, that courage, it takes that vulnerability, it takes effort, it's and it's hard. I think this is what people sometimes, the perception that, sure, it's you've got it easy, everyone, if you're doing this, it's like, no, it's
Oh,
hard for everyone. It's not easy. It's not, this isn't, doing these things, working on
it's
yourself isn't an easy option, but it's the right and worthwhile option.
yes. Some people choose to stay with the problems, I think, because
Yeah,
it's easier finding a solution and doing something uncomfortable. You get out of your comfort zone. And that body shrinks, like your brain tells you not to do it. Also,
yeah,
your environment can damage you so much because I don't talk about people. I don't talk about others' problem. I don't do these things. And I have friends, and you'll go somewhere and they'll talk about this problem and this problem. And I was like, I didn't hear a positive conversation tonight. I don't want to hang up with you guys anymore. It's
yes,
the problems are there. We do not have to look after problems. We are surrounded by problems. They're all there.
yeah,
So let's just look a bit further and see what we can do. It's sunny today. Oh no, it's not. It's raining. Good. It's fresh air. I'm gonna go for a walk. Like, it will be always something to figure out and to look at and to find an excuse or to feel pity for yourself. But that's something that I always, I didn't understand for years until I worked with special needs. And then I said, okay, things are different. Just do what you can. We don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it perfect. But life
yeah,
moves on.
yeah,
It's powerful that we can get there. Of course, I wouldn't think like this probably clearly like this at 20. I've been blessed that I had that sickness that made me very grateful and very positive. I think that really pushed
yeah,
me out of my comfort zone and being like this. Not many people have the chance, but you have people around you who focus on the bad things or the good things. Just go on the positive side, stick with those one, learn from those. We do
yeah,
have a choice. We have a choice.
yeah, absolutely. Love it. The next question I have for you then is that who would you say have been the biggest influences in your life?
Definitely Brendan Bouchard was one of
Oh,
them.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like, to I discover high performance, I became a far better manager from 70 hours a week. I think on my first job as a manager, when I wouldn't trust people, I would do everything. Oh God, I'd be paranoid. And I literally lived in the pharmacy. I would, with a team of probably 10, my last pharmacy manager job, I had a team of 45 and I would do the job in 20, 25 hours. So it was
yeah,
learning the lessons. Brendan Bouchard was something that I would always admire, and it's a dream to go
yeah.
to work with him for the 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Paul O'Mahony is a marketer and a business owner that I admire a lot, and what he does to the world. It's one of ours, to say so. I love him. And I've been really passionate about Sarah Blakely. She is the owner of Spanx.
Yes.
I know her story always says, about how her father teach them to fail and how important it was for them because rejection was something normal.
Yeah.
And I admire her partner and that family. I think it looks like a bubble of authenticity and
Yeah.
being themselves and sharing with the world. But look, there's so many people that influence our
Yeah.
lives. Even all the girls in my membership are an inspiration for me.
Yeah.
I have Mary there with me. She is a true inspiration. Like every single person I think can inspire us, but this definitely Brendan Bouchard changed my life as a
Yeah.
professional. I
Yeah.
discovered there is productivity. I know I discovered this
Yeah.
and there is clarity, and that was the magic man. And Paul O'Mahony give me the first pinch with the marketing, make me trust again marketers and mentors because I lost all my hopes
Yeah.
after paying so much money with other people.
Love it. Yeah, no, because I think it was when I was doing it's like a few years ago now when I was doing my diploma in the coaching, and I came across Brendan Burchard. And as soon as I found it, I like read every book that he'd ever wrote within a few months, like from the manifesto, so the motivation manifesto, high performance. Just incredible work. I say went to
Yes.
his. What did you do what did you go sign up to one of his
I've done
courses, or
some
was it?
trainings with him.
Yeah.
I've done some trainings with him a few years ago when I discovered him, and then, as you said, reading, listening. His membership still, it's a decent price. Just listening to him once a month with his speech, it just gives you motivation for at least a week straight away. Like you're fine, you're ready to go. I wish to be able to have like a 50% impact on people if I on the stage, because he has that power.
Yeah.
I did not like Tony Robbins myself at all. Like I saw him as no influence. But when I went to his World Summit during COVID, I'd blow my mind. I was like, oh my God. So I like him a lot, but didn't have so much influence. It's just, for him, he's an inspiration as a human being, as, being poor and helping others, trying his best, doing the lesson. And he says the same. He got the right environment and he took the opportunities.
Yep.
Like,
that's it.
So every success story comes from, pushing you out of your comfort zone and doing the work.
100%, absolutely.
There is no magic tablet.
No, that's it. 100%. You're dead right. As I said, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, Sorina. I have one final question before you let you go, though, and that is, what's important for your future?
I think the same, living the life and having the courage to be 100% authentic. Because it's hard. I do find it hard for this. I say I do not market myself enough because I do have the same lack of confidence. But being authentic and, living the life that I dream of, like the freedom that I was talking about, while being there for others. I really wish I can help so much more people when they start their businesses, because it's important. And I know there are all kind of programs and things there that cost a fortune, and they paid the last money in the house and they got no help. So I think that little membership I want to grow with and to help hundreds of people with it.
Love it. I'd say it's been a pleasure chat to you, Sorina. I want to make sure people continue to find you, follow you, and support you. So we will put all your links in the show notes. But if you want to give a shout out now of where people can follow and connect you online.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I spend time on LinkedIn. I try my best to spend more time on LinkedIn, on Facebook. And I recently opened Instagram page for the community. It's called Social Click Community, the page. Everywhere else is my name, Sorina Dascal. People can connect with me anywhere because I'm open to conversations and networking, especially now that I'm back to Ireland.
Absolutely. Love it. And so all of the Sorina's links will be in the show notes, everyone, so you can click on them and find her on the platform that you use the most and the best. Sorina, one last time, thank you so much for chatting to me today.
Thank you so much, James.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode. I really hope you enjoyed the conversation. To support the show, please subscribe on your favorite platform, share your favorite episode, get involved with your comments, and give the show a rating. If you want to learn more about what I do, you can follow me at James Dean Coaching on Facebook and Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, or check out my website, jamesdeancoaching.com.